What's up?
Hello.
Yo, what's up, fellas?
Man, not much.
We
How are
got
you
Mr.
today?
Doing well. I'm glad to be on. I'm I'd say I used to be a bass head, then I went to the dark side, but you're always a bass head at heart. You can never escape it. So I'm
Right.
back trying to learn what you guys are doing now.
That's how Base Wars got started. we uh we built a truck. We wanted to go to a show, and there were none in our area. So we
That's the way you do it. You know, it's way different. In the late '90s, early 2000s when I competed. It was a totally different game, and vehicles are like 10 times where
Yes,
I remember
absolutely.
them being.
yeah,
Absolutely.
in the SPL game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, I had this conversation with some others not too long on this channel. They don't have the excitement we had of not knowing who won until the name was read, though. Right?
Yeah.
That was nail biting. That was really fun and really cool. They don't have that. They just go look at the leaderboard and they know they got it, and you know,
Right.
it's
Well, now,
really sad for
before
them.
you might go to a show with a hot mic, because we used the audio control, and the B and K was a lot
Right?
better about that. But the audio control, if there
Yeah.
was a
Yes.
hot mic, like you
Yes.
might do 5-10 dB more,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and it was wild. It was wild times back then. It's the Wild
Yeah.
West,
It
maybe.
was fun though. It was
Right.
fun. We got Mr. 25 to life in here. What's up? A little bit of everybody. Hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight? We appreciate everybody coming and watching us on Monday night. We got Mr. HiFi Vega himself in the house.
So, Robert, how did you get started in doing this? Or in the audio, I guess, in car
Okay.
audio.
So I've always been into cars, even before I could drive, and I love music. So it's like music and cars started it for me. And before I even had a vehicle, I knew kind of what I wanted to get, and I was reading Crutchfield. So Crutchfield kind of got me into it,
Yeah.
and I'm looking through the discounts. I'm like, man, when I'm gonna get this, then I'm gonna get this. Then I started getting the magazines, as you can see up here. I have some of them,
I see.
and once I started doing that, I was like, okay, now I know what I want to do. And of course, you get it. You run the damn wire through the panel of the door, and you do all that nonsense. But hey, you do what you can when you start. If you
That's
don't
right.
know any better, you just do what you do.
That's right. Yeah.
Living
Yeah.
loud
Thank
Andy
you so
in the
much.
house. What's up, Andy? Hopefully you're still going to come on next week, Andy. We got you penciled in.
You mean inked in, right?
Huh? Inked in, yeah. I guess it ain't penciled no more.
Right. So I did kind of the same thing you did, probably, Robert. I was I got started real similar, and I remember getting those. There was what was it? There was Crutchfield. There was another magazine, Car Stereo Review.
For
Right.
sure, review, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah,
I
man,
used
that
to
was
subscribe to that one and used to just relentlessly to read through the pages. It was like, oh, one day.
yeah, and
But I
then,
was sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, that's okay. And then the other one was Car. What was it? Car Audio,
Car audio and performance.
the big one.
Yeah, there was CSR, car audio performance, PSA mag, which is a little bit later, and then they had boy, I can't think of it right now. There was one more. I
Yeah,
just can't think of it.
but y'all, we used to get these at the grocery store,
Right,
Walmart.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
where these
You used to
publications
pay for
were.
it, yeah.
It was big time.
Oh yeah, and I was like 14 or 15, so I couldn't afford them every week, and I wanted to
Mhm.
make sure they were there. So what you do is you hide it in like National Geographic or something, just like comic
Right.
books. See, I done the same thing with comic books when I was like 8, 9 years old. I
Yeah.
put them in there like I'm coming back to get this. No one's gonna find this because I've got it
Right.
hidden.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I was even worse. I would just stand there and look at them while my mom did the shopping, right? And
Yep,
then
I'd stand there
eventually,
and read them in the
well, I didn't really read them back then. I just looked at the pictures. but yeah, that was I would anyway. The manager's like, if you're gonna keep looking at that, you got to buy it. I'm
Right.
like, oh dang. So
it was kind of pretty
it's good
much the same.
times though.
it was kind of pretty much the same thing for me, except for I got a little bit of spoiled because back then, down here in Missouri at Bartle Hall is where they had, USAC finals.
Right.
And, I used to come down here and be able to watch Mama Gates and all the big people back then run all their stuff. It was like, one day I'm going to have something this loud and this crazy. And, I never thought that I would ever be able to afford it. And then, here we are now.
Yeah. So, Robert, what do you think the loudest vehicle that you heard back then that was a competitor vehicle, which today we know of as an SQ vehicle? I don't know.
The loudest SQ vehicle I've ever listened to.
Well, back then, they were all
Right.
SQ vehicles.
Yeah.
So I know Kicker and Linear Power had done an Astro van that had the 918s in it.
Mhm.
It was loud.
Mama Gates.
I said in the Kicker gates. I said in the PPI gates.
The PPI. Wow, yeah.
And that was the first one where she had all the pair of sixes, so she could set the phase to all of them. So it was kind of that
The
one was
time alignment,
that's
movement, boy.
back in the day. That was probably the loudest vehicle I had ever been in. Although I was like a single sub guy when I done it. I competed with 412 Kicker XPLs at one time, the second gens, but originally it was just one Kicker L712, and I was able to reach 150 on the audio control mic with the 1200 watt amp. So that was in a single cab S10, and that was kind of my goal. Although that's more like 142 today or something like that. So somewhere in that range, on
So I was gonna say that's doing something behind the seat of an S10,
Right.
I remember doing that once. I remember seeing a guy compete and had two eights or anyway. He did like a 121.
Right. Oh, definitely.
That was that wasn't the term lever. That was wasn't even audio control. That was the other one,
The B
the
and K.
expensive one. The B and K, yeah.
The B and K was brutal. So the B and K, I think I done like a 145 or 146 on there. So just it by itself was 3 to 5 dB.
That's legit. The B and K is the legit gold standard, I think.
Yeah.
So.
And now the pressure sensors, I mean, it's just you either hit the number or you don't. It's not different day to day. It is what it is. I appreciate that. The number is what it is. Nothing changes. Venue to venue, setup to setup. It's just it either does it or it doesn't.
That's right.
Abstract acoustics. I go to Scraping the Coast every year. I've been there for the last 4 to 5 years. Every year, me and my vehicle.
Yeah, the first time I went to USAC finals was when it was in Bartles Hall down there, and I got to check it out. That's when I met Alma. I think at that time I was competing 151 to 300.
What year was that, you think?
99.
I was there, I think.
You were there?
Yeah.
What class were you competing in?
I forget. They had probably an unlimited class, but consumer unlimited probably.
Right. And I was in consumer 151 to 300 with the CFA 1000D on two Orion XTR 315s. Yeah. So, and I freaking got blown out of the water. I was way out of my element. I had just made enough points to make it to finals. I think I got like 5th place out of there was only 7 contestants. So,
wow, yeah. Well, that hall was full though. I don't know when all those guys were competing because back then I don't think the SPL had separated yet. Right? It was all
right. Yeah. It was.
But they came around with a computer on a cart, if I remember right. We didn't go through a lane.
Yeah.
Nope. They brought it to you when I went. And when I went, where watched other people compete, where it was just the official kind of the lane, like is always done. But this time they were bringing it to you.
Yeah, Bartle Hall was really kind of anal about the gas in the vehicle and couldn't crank it and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, not to my knowledge, I don't think anybody uses that anymore. I think everybody switched over to Term Lab or SSA meter. I don't think anybody uses that anymore.
No, that thing's still like $3,000 or something.
Oh, it was 10 back then.
Yeah,
I bet it's that now.
Yeah,
And you had to
probably is,
get the upgraded microphone, which was another couple thousand, if I remember right.
Yeah, they're very
Because the
expensive.
first one only went to like 135, the one that comes with
Right.
it.
And you get a term live setup for like what, $1,500, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So,
And they're bulletproof. You
right.
know, you're not breaking them.
Billy,
Huh?
sorry, I was going to say Billy is down there. I want to say Mississippi, right?
I'm in Mississippi. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm in Kansas.
Where are you at, Robert?
I'm in Arkansas,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I come. What part of Arkansas?
over on Western Fort Smith area.
Okay. Well, I come through there every time. I guess I go up to Stillwater.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah.
when you come to my house as well too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
live just off I-40. I don't live in Fort Smith. I actually live in Barling, but it's such a small suburb. No one
Yeah.
would
You
know
got
where
a
it's
nice
at.
demo of my vehicle at Wake the Dead.
Yeah, I did. I definitely did. Yeah, your vehicle was brutal. That and then the guy that had the other gray, the old square body.
Daniel Powell.
Right, that thing was
Oh.
freaking.
Yeah.
That thing was
Daniel Powell, that
intense.
thing is nasty. Yes.
Yeah, it is intense. So you guys were like some of the loudest demos I got that day.
I appreciate that. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
I'm the loudest, but
Yeah.
it gets up.
Yeah. So we got to run across Daniel when we went and did that Las Vegas show, and
He'll be popping up behind you sometime there.
yeah, I don't know what. That's a 6-hour video playing behind me. I don't know at what point he pops up, but anyway, I did go to his vehicle to listen to it, and about the time I was getting up there close, he's giving it a break, so I didn't get to get in it. But yeah, it seemed pretty loud from 30 feet away.
Yeah, we did. I took my wife with me to that show, and I said we got to get the earplugs. She's like, "You sure?" I was like, "We need the earplugs." I was like, trust me, we need the earplugs.
Yeah.
This is an SQ show.
I tried to get him to take him out before he sit in the vehicle, and he was like, "No." No.
Yeah. I keep them in too. If I go to a loud show, I put them in.
Yeah. Like I'm already old. Like I've already lost so much hearing anyways. So like
well, I want to start our version of an SQ soon, and I don't have a big network of judges, so it'll probably just be me. So I need to save what I got to be able to listen to some cars. You know.
How old are you, Robert?
40.
You're not that old.
No, not yet. Not yet. Unless you talk to my 19-year-old daughter who thinks I'm pretty old.
Oh yeah. I've got a 27-year-old, so I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy's got a couple young ones running around there too.
Yeah, 18 and 16, man. They're not 2 months anymore. Something happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Before you know it, they all just grew up real quick.
Fast.
I really, really am looking forward to getting a demo of Andy's.
I got Andy's 2 years ago at the at Slamology. He was there with the kicker guys right there in front of the truck. And so I got to get in Andy's that day.
2 years ago, that was Rainology. That was
no, it was a year after that. It was a year after that.
Okay, yeah. Because I mean, I go to that one as well. Scraping the Coast and Slamology are like my must of the year.
And I've never been to Slamology. I'd love to go some point to Slamology, just check it out.
You have to. I promise you, if you haven't been to any show, by far Scraping the Coast or Slamology is like, to me, is one of the biggest car audio shows out there.
Oh man, listen, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't been to all the shows, but I don't know of another show that is more than a quarter of what Slamology is. I don't know of one.
It's like the parking lot would be most of the organizations, and I mean that place is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah,
wow.
I bet.
It's hot. Is it hot up there when they're doing it?
Yeah, it was warm.
A
little bit.
Not bad. Not what we're used to, Robert, because you're right here by me. What we're used to, I'd say, probably a good 80-degree day. Maybe some of them have been in the 90s and kind of been a little brutal because you're on asphalt and stuff, but it's not bad. Scraping the Coast.
I've been to Scraping. Yeah,
Scraping the Coast is nasty.
I
mean, the first year I went there, it was like 127 degrees, and they stuck us all out in the parking lot. That was it was brutal. That was the year that Drew actually got heat exhaustion that year. I mean, it was brutal that year. So yeah, bad.
It was hot. You know, we were at the Sundown show up in Hickory, North Carolina, earlier this year, and
We was there.
It was hot up there, man.
I
can't.
It was warm.
Me and Derek were walking around it. You know, I'm in Arkansas. I'm used to it's like as hot as the sun down here most of the time. But I wasn't expecting it to be as hot up there, but it was.
It's the humidity difference. I mean, just like down in Louisiana and Mississippi and stuff, it's the humidity that makes the difference.
Right.
Because they got like 100% humidity where we're in the like 70, 80% humidity where we're at. So it makes a big difference.
Yeah. It does for sure. I was we were invited to, well, I say we were invited. I begged them to let us come to the Sundown show. I didn't beg. I didn't have to beg.
Right.
But they did. I did reach out to them and they let us come. So we was there too.
Hopefully, I've been talking to Scott and trying to get us up to Wake the Dead. So maybe possibly that could happen. If not this year, maybe next year. I don't know. Most definitely.
Yeah.
So you want to maybe show something of what you got sitting over on your bench there? You want to walk us through anything? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. So I don't have the AM1, so we can't live dyno something, but I've got something over here. We can, show you kind of what I do when I hook them up and, a little behind the scenes here.
Yeah, cool.
All right, cool. So I'm using this mic and I'll switch over to that camera.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Do you mean to turn this one off?
All right, let me see if you can. You guys hear me?
Oh yes, we hear you well.
Oh man, let me switch the audio over here real quick because I cannot hear you.
So Jimmy, have we missed any questions in the feed yet? You think? I saw one talking about some Baton Rouge.
All right.
Places.
Let me see if I can hear you guys.
Test.
No, I still can't hear you guys.
Well, you might have to put the headphones back in.
I think Jimmy's fixing to sing the national anthem. So
I wouldn't go that far.
This is like a kicker show where the technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Where's Ernie at? We need Ernie.
Right.
We need Ernie. Where's Ernie?
Snap his fingers and it's fixed.
Right. I know. I need someone to come behind me.
You need some of them wireless kicker headphones is what your problem is.
Oh man, I've got a ton of them, but they always introduce their own problems.
I got a nice pair of them as well too, and they were taken away from me by my wife.
Yeah, that's happened to me as well.
I go to Vegas too as well. I love the Vegas show. That's amazing. I was out there, I don't know, a couple months ago.
All right. So I've already got it hooked up here. And I guess we can start with what I usually start with is setting the gains.
Yeah.
And once I set the crossover, which is flat on any amp, that way I don't mess with it. We're just going straight amp power. Well, my stupid headphones won't reach.
Hmm.
Let me get it hooked up and I'll get my headphones back on.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to use my kicker
so I'll hook up
earbuds.
the front left channel here. And then we'll play a track through it.
Yeah, good thing he's got nice small Allen wrenches there. They're
That's
like
what I was like. What is he using?
He's like reaching in from a foot away with it.
And I do this on every single amp that I set up. I go ahead, run the DD1, get the gain set properly. Obviously, some of them have independent gains, so you have to do this is a 4-channel. Some of them you have to do 4, but this one is just 1 per bank, so you do 2 of them.
Absolutely.
Let's make sure we can see that here. The DD1 is on. We'll play the 1 kilohertz track because this is a 4-channel.
We need Army to zoom in on that.
All right, let me get back.
On that.
All right, now I can hear you. So I know where clipping point is on this head unit already because I've tested it. And it's 35. So now
what did you test it with? Did you use an O-scope or do you
the same DD1?
Same
yeah,
DD1.
okay.
So I use the RCA in here, and that's how I know the clipping is right here.
I see.
Now we'll just come over here to the gain.
And that's a 40 hertz track that's playing through that.
1 kilohertz.
Or 1 kilohertz, sorry.
Right.
Sorry,
I do the 40 hertz on the sub amps.
On the sub amps. I forgot you're on a 4 channel. You're right.
Yeah. So when I'm testing it, I go to a full clip. Solid red light. That way, when I test it with the AMM1, 35 takes me to the full 1% before it stops it. If you're setting it up in your car, obviously you're going to go a little lower. So you want it barely showing.
Absolutely, Warren.
Robert, can you see the screen from where you are?
Yeah.
There's a pretty good question there.
Since we're working with the DD1, what's the best way to set the gains? At the hertz you peak at, or do you set at 40? I always set at 40 hertz.
I always set at 40 myself as well,
right.
too. Negative,
I don't know if
negative
that's right
5
or wrong.
dB.
Yeah. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's just what I do.
Yeah, well, that'd just be a choice, though, right?
Right.
I mean, there's probably no right or wrong.
And I think since they only read 1 kilohertz or 40, you'd need an O-scope to set it at a different frequency.
Well, I guess there is a right or wrong, and 40 sounds like the right.
Right. So if you're setting it up just to use, I go we're just barely starting to distort. Back it up just a little bit. So that's where I like to be, just under clipping. That way at your max volume, you're not clipping. And I always set my gain up with 0 dB overlap, because people I don't think realize is when you use -3 or -6 dB, you're actually +3 or 6 dB
Absolutely.
on your bass.
Now,
Well, see,
what are we looking at on the? We've got it blown up to your amp there. What are we looking at that tells us it's right and ready?
There's
Okay.
little lights that come on it. I'm sorry, I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Yeah, we had a signal here.
Mm-hmm.
This first light is 40 hertz detect. Second
Okay.
light is 1 kilohertz detect.
Uh-huh.
And then the third light's distortion.
So if you kept going, we would light that top light.
To distortion. Like that.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
And that's how you know you're at clipping. But when
That
you set
seems
up
a
your
little
amp-
easier than what we used to have to do.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We try to listen with your ears, but
Right.
I get it where it's kind of flashing or just under.
Yeah.
So now that that's set, I would set usually both of them, and to make sure they're equal. Then I run my speaker wire to my loads right here. These are 2 4-ohm loads, 1,000 watts each. This is a 1-ohm load, 1,000 watts. So I can get all the frequent or the impedances that I need.
Cool.
And I also, as I'm doing it, because I want to know what the voltage is going in. So I typically have my meter set up right here. And you can get my big old head in the way.
No, it's the blue shirt, and we're counting the fibers.
There we go.
That's a good camera.
That's the iPhone camera.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we do that. Throw my clamp on here. I know how much we're drawing. And you're not going to be able to see that in the shot very well. But we're drawing at idle, like, actually, let me switch it to DC. So we're drawing just under an amp on idle current.
Yeah.
And that's basically the setup to start. And I'm running on a PowerMax 100 amp power supply. And I don't right now, but I typically have a battery bank hooked up. Still AGM. I'm switching to lithium soon.
I'm kind of looking at some of the comments we have rolling in here. Actually, some pretty decent ones.
Yeah, if you guys got anything, let me know. I'll hook up the speaker so we can kind of listen to the sample a little bit.
Okay, I'm just going to throw out a question that I frequently get asked by everybody. Why do you prefer to use the SMD over a O-scope or maybe a multimeter?
Simplicity.
Yep. Quickness. When you're
100%.
testing amps, or if you're doing this professionally, you definitely time is of the essence.
Time is money.
Right. So that's why.
But
I'm gonna take my
do you
headphones
think-
off real quick and hook up the speaker, and then I'll put them back in.
Okay.
Now, I know from personal experience, and this is just my personal experience. I'm not saying it's true, but when I use the DD1 or the O-scope or any of that, there's a little bit of a difference. Thanks, Billy. But like when I set myself or set everything up with the DD1 and actually ran the DD1, it said it where it is perfectly safe. Everything is completely safe all across the board. You can run it there all day long with no problems. But when I used the O scope, I was able to fine tune it and give it just that couple more clicks or just a bump up a little bit more. Where in the SPO world, that matters a big difference. It's not necessarily the safest possible, but you can get just a little bit more out of it. But that's just
See,
from what
Hopefully,
I
you guys are talking because I can't hear you.
Yeah. So I
This
thought you
isn't
just
very entertaining.
took all of the amplifiers and turned all the gains wide to the right and all of the volumes and all the bass and
I was
all
gonna say, you're
everything to
forgetting
the
the bass
right.
We get all this out on YouTube. It's a lot easier.
You're forgetting
Right.
bass boost. You have to turn the bass boost all the way up too as well.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
they didn't have bass boost on amps back then. Right.
All right.
I mean, you
Now I
know,
can switch to CDs.
Man, he's got a CD. Do you reckon anybody knows what a CD is in the audience?
only us old people.
I'm 27, man. I don't know what's up.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm old.
I'm
I
a-
love the age.
All right, I'm back.
No, honestly, what I was just saying before you actually took your headset off is, what do you think about the difference between the DD1 versus an O scope versus actually a voltmeter? Because I hear the difference all the time. I mean, personally, I found that there's just a little bit of a difference between the DD1 and an O scope, being able to set it clean and being able to just give it a little bit more power out of the O scope.
Yeah, I like the DD1 just for simplicity. The O-scope is nice, but if you have a cheap O-scope and it has a low resolution screen, you're not going to be able to get it right where you need it.
Absolutely.
And in my opinion, if you want a little more, just use a 3 dB overlap, and then that gives you just a little.
But you know, they have some mobile O-scopes, some smaller O-scopes now that don't cost, they don't cost $500-$600. Used to,
Yeah.
5,000 got
accurate
you in. Well, I don't know. They're going to put out. I don't know. I can't
One of
answer
your
that.
voltmeters are shutting off, Robert.
Oh, there we go.
I heard the beep.
Yep, it was the clamp.
I know that O-scope or that clamp for out of that fluke meter.
Let me see here.
Okay, well, go ahead, run away with it. You have
Yeah, let's see what we got.
Give him full screen, Billy.
Yeah.
Well, they'll play a few seconds of this, but I think that other thing's a little. You guys recognize that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
I don't want to play too much, but because I could get the CD play. But that's
There
it.
were some old school tracks back then.
And this one's actually not this one, but I have one that is signed by Alma Gates.
Oh,
Nuh-uh.
wow.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, man. That's very, very cool.
So this is the disc where her vehicle was on the top.
Yes. I would love a copy of that disc.
I can get you a copy.
I would honestly really love a copy of that disc.
What amplifier is that, Robert?
This is the NVX NBA 401.
Okay.
It's a 4-channel. It's 150 watts by 4.
It looks really thin. I like that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty big. It's about 20 inches.
Well, no, I meant like vertically, like
yeah.
like the Z axis, I guess.
Right.
Like it looks like it's probably inch and a half.
It's, let me see. Actually, got to take measure here. I always say, when me and David Bryant test with the DD1, we found out once you set the gains to clean and we kept the DDA hooked up, the voltage dropped. Oh, well, that could be an issue.
Yeah.
Another 25 to life. I definitely want that CD. That CD is going to be amazing.
I was
Well,
way
about
off.
2.5.
Yeah.
Oh. This is a solid low amp. It does the rated power.
That's cool.
I was stuck on DJ Magic Mike back in the old days. I loved some old DJ Magic Mike.
Right.
That and Too Short.
Oh yeah. I was never into the bass tracks. I always liked this
Tom
regular
Sawyer.
music.
Tom Sawyer.
Right.
Tom Sawyer is the bomb.
Yeah, I still love Tom Sawyer.
Rush for you guys that
Rush.
don't know. Yeah.
I wore her out on Rush everything, so she absolutely hates it.
I actually developed a like for the Flashdance CD.
Oh, you had to do it.
Go figure.
Well,
Wow.
you had to do 130 decibels, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's a lot on Flashdance.
Mm-hmm. So, Robert, we got a class in bass horns. It's called Old School, and they have to either play Flashdance, Chicago's Hard Habit to Break, or Michael Jackson's Dirty Diana, not bass boosted, and the sensor has to be on the glass, which is not the normal for us. So that's kind of a fun class.
Feel the bass, number 3, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
That I love that song. Feel the bass.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically all I had to show you guys here, unless you wanted to see something else or had some questions.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of questions in here, but let's let you go ahead and step back over to your monitor there so you can see everything. Oh.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, we close up too, man.
Yeah.
That's too close and personal.
Hang on, I'm trying to get in here.
Bad. Let
There you go.
There we go.
I was flipping it same time you were.
Robert, he just did that because I put him on full screen while you were hooking stuff up, right?
There you go. Had to pay you back.
You're right? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Right.
So is there any questions out there? Anybody have anything for Robert that he wasn't able to actually answer when he was doing that? Generally he has his AMM1. AMM1, there you go. The fancy little thing that allows him to actually show exactly what rated power is, clipping, and just a little bit of everything. He can see what the amp truly does.
Well, I've got a question because I'm not very smart. So that amplifier right there, how much power did it put out, you think?
150 watts by 4 at.
All right, so around 600. Okay.
Yeah.
So and you've got 100-watt power supply. Is that what you said?
100 amp.
100 amp. Yeah, that's what I meant. 100 amp power supply. Wow, how much power? How many watts can you supply?
So
out of that
with
thing?
Just the power supply alone, 1,000 watts.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's kind of like your alternator in your vehicle when you add battery packs. You can stretch it. You can go farther than what you can. And I only have 15 amp service in this room, so I can't go much higher on a power supply. So battery backup is what I've been doing. I just bought a cap bank, the IXOS that Excess Power makes.
Yeah.
So I have that, and I've had 4 AGMs that I used, 100 amp hour AGMs. But I'm switching to lithium soon. So I've got the stuff here. I just got to build the bank, and I'm gonna see if that does any better.
I was going to see what do you hope to gain by that?
I hope to be able to test a little bit bigger stuff than I normally do with steadier voltage.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. So,
is your box full downstairs where your breaker is?
No. I could actually have them do service in here to a larger.
I was going to say we could probably run a dedicated wire up just to where you're actually running the meter and all that stuff. That's always a possibility. So you're not running off of, because right now you're running off of a 15 amp circuit that is tied into everything in your bedroom. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it might say 15 amp, but it's actually not, because you're getting all the draw from everything else. But we could run you a dedicated circuit up there as long as you have the free space.
Yeah, I got plenty of free space, and that's something I considered. That's why I want to. I like Derek and them test the big stuff, because I'm not too worried about that.
Right.
But I'd like to have steadier voltage on 2,000 watt stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, yeah. So that's always a possibility. We could always look at your service. Do you have a basement?
No.
Just
in garage. It's in the garage.
Oh, it's in the garage, so it'd have to run from above.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's always a possibility.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I switched to the Power Max. I actually used a 150 amp co-cell that was like a lab grade power supply. Mm-hmm. That one's great, but it wants to hold that voltage, whatever you set it at any cost. So it will just start drawing the amps. If you start taking the amps and the battery backup's not sufficient, it will start pulling the current, and it'll throw the breaker every single time. So I switched to this one, which is not as nice as that, but I have a larger voltage. I can go from 11 volts to 16 volts with this one. It has a little bit less draw, and I'll just build up my battery bank a little bit more. So I'm hoping to be a little more efficient with it.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. So, so maybe you could help me this. I'm trying to get across to the people here, some that may not know, the amount of power that you can supply is what dictates how much power you're going to get out. And, 100%. Right. And so a lot of people don't really believe that. It's not they don't believe it. It's just that it don't make sense, because, they can buy a 100 watt amp and, it sounds good, but then they go buy a 1,000 watt amp and it still sounds louder, but it's really not better. Right. And so it's hard to explain to people that experience that, to get them to understand that it's not better and it's maybe even not louder. We're just kind of clipping louder.
I think a lot of people too, especially like if you get a kicker amp, it's going to work down to 9 volts. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you could have the 2400, the KXA 2400, but at 10 volts,
you got a KXA. Like watts or something. That's right, 1200. Yeah. Right.
So it still works. They don't think about it, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that it takes power to make power. I mean, if you're running on 9 volts and you're expecting a 12 volt amplifier to perform where it's supposed to, it's not going to happen. I mean, you're seeing the very, very bottom minimum of anything at that point. If it's not shutting off or going in to protect it, I mean, you're asking way too much out of any amplifier at that point.
Right. So I always tell people, man, you got to start putting power in before you can expect to get power out. And I suspected that your little setup would iterate that to us. Have you ever even tried to power 5,000 watts with your power supply?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
You know better, right? You wouldn't do it, right? Your breaker would be done, right? Or either
I've thrown it with So the biggest amp I've tested, and I've got it sitting here somewhere, is the Terramps MD 1800. And that one, if I go full tilt, it will throw the breaker. It'll throw the breaker. Even with 4
The
100 amp hour.
Terrans draw a lot of power, though. So
Right. And that's a pretty efficient amp. Even though it draws a lot, it's actually pretty efficient. So if I had like
It's
a
putting
Class
out a
AB
lot.
amp doing that, oh, dude,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
maybe like 1200 watts.
if you had to describe in 3 words or less that signal on the O-scope, what's it look like?
Flat. Right.
all the way across.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
I actually hadn't had a lot of experience with Terramps amps. Let's just say when I hooked it up, I was like, yeah, man, this ain't that for me. Like, it's just, it's not for me. It's not for
Right.
me. It's cheap power, and a lot of people love them.
It is what it is.
For me, it's not for me.
But for you guys, when the wave is normally that, and Terramps sometimes converts it to that.
Yeah.
That's speaker. That's egg frying. That's cook. That's cooking.
I see a lot of people nowadays forgetting the whole thing that was preached to me. Maybe, and it's just me, but it was your charging is everything. It's not just the front to the back. It's considered a charging loop. And if your charging loop is not consistent, it's not going to work consistent. So if you have 2 runs of power running from front to back, you better have 2 runs of ground running from front to back, plus your big 3. And I mean, I was always taught, maybe, and that's from the electrical side, but it's a charging loop. And if it's not charging correctly, you're not going to see any true power or anything out of anything that you're running.
Definitely. And that's like what, I do the big 3 kits now. And I think what people don't get is the grounds are as important, if not more important, than the actual power wire, because
they're definitely equally important.
Yeah. Wherever you're grounding in your vehicle, if you're grounding your chassis, even if you're grounding to the frame, if your battery or alternator is not grounded in the same spots, you're still going to have that. Even if you got a double aught running from the power, you definitely have to. Stupid fly! I got the window open. Flies are coming in like crazy.
We can't see the fly, man. It just looks like you're
crazy
off your rocker. Yeah.
Still to this day, though, I see people that come in that have 1 run of ground from front to back, and they've got 3 runs of power, and they don't understand why it's not working correctly. And they have the big 3, but not the big 4. And a lot of people don't understand about the big 4, and there's a little bit more behind it. And then you get some of the people that will just hook it up to wherever they can find a bolt. They won't clean it. They won't, take the extra time, and they don't understand why it's not working correctly. Oh, well, this guy over here on this forum said that if I put this wire to here, everything should work just correctly. Right. Well, that might in his application or his field, but what he didn't show you was behind the scenes, he sanded everything. He cleaned it all. Maybe even hit it with a little bit of diode grease. There's so many different aspects behind a lot of these videos that people don't understand. And we
sand them, clean them, put them on, and then paint them back so they don't rust.
Paint back over top of it. Absolutely. 100%.
And a lot of these newer vehicles have bonded panels, so you're not going to ground like that. You're just going to have to run power and ground both.
It's all unibody. Right. They don't understand. I grounded it to my frame. You don't have a frame. It's a unibody. You have to go from front to back. There's no frame there. You are grounding it to a tin body. So, at that point,
I think, Dean from 5 Star, because he deals with this every day, he said most times they just quote them front power to ground, straight front to back, because they do mostly new vehicles. It's all unibody stuff, and it's like, why even mess with it? We'll just go straight power, straight ground to battery, and not have to worry about it.
So I have always done that, but the reason I did that is back when we didn't have the awesome equipment that we do now, and that was the best way to eliminate noise.
Yeah. Well, back then we had some cheap RCAs and some really bad.
We had equipment with weird grounds and stuff like that too. So,
Oh, and then we got did you guys ever have the Pioneer Pico fuse problem?
Yes.
When you had to
Yes.
strip the wire and run it all across the
Right.
ground, the RCAs.
The figure
Yeah.
8 all the way across. I
Yeah.
still have a
The
50
kids don't
watt
know. The
power
kids don't
booster
know
all
about
the way
that
across.
today. They hadn't had to
No.
deal with that. They got
Tell them
good
to
stuff now.
It'd be funny. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna say, hey man, go ground your RCA. You'll get 5 more decimals, and just see if they look at me strange. But, hey, that's not true. It won't work.
No.
Don't do that.
I have
It's a
engine
joke.
noise. Look, go do the ground loop on your RCAs on the back of your head unit. Huh?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
When I first got the RCAs with the little wire coming off them,
The extra
I
remote
always
wire.
thought that was
Remote wire.
I thought it was remote. Like that's
Oh,
to ground
wow.
your RCAs. That's
Yeah.
but
To
I
ground
didn't know
your
that
RCAs.
for like 5
Wow.
years. I didn't know that probably when I first
Wow,
started.
yeah.
I was like, oh, this is built-in remote wire. Here we go.
Okay. Wow. Well, did it work?
Yeah,
I guess it
worked.
did,
It
huh?
worked.
It did probably, I bet.
Yeah.
I wasn't sophisticated enough to know about noise in the system back then. It's like, who cares, man?
Oh man. Well, when you back when we had to compete, that was a whole category.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
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 Of course, most people had switches on their alternators. It just kind of took
Shut
care of that
everything
for them.
off.
Yeah.
Up under the dash somewhere that nobody could ever find.
Oh yeah, and there's people exploding airbags and doing all kinds of crap back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Good old days.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I'm only 27, but I've heard.
Right. I'm telling you, man, I'm jealous. Like the people that are new in bass, they've got it pretty good, man, and they're like they have the knowledge, and like everything's out there for them, and you can talk to them, and they know very in depth what they're doing, exactly why they're doing, why it's acting this way. When back in the day, like we were guessing and we were asking buddies and
would you have ever reconed a sub back then? You would
absolutely
not.
No.
That was an engineer somewhere. We didn't know. We didn't have a clue. I think honestly, you know what I think? I think the people that do what we do, man, I think they'd be stout engineers if they just found that right job for them. I think they're $200,000 people doing what they do for fun. I just don't know where that spot is for them, but yeah, man,
they're smart nowadays. Like that, they're very very savvy on this stuff.
I actually want to know that same question. 25 to life. Have you ever tested a Zet? Really?
I've got one sitting right. That's a Minotaur. That's a newer one. And I tested the ESX Q275, and I've tested another one. You know a little secret about Z amps?
Yeah,
they always do like 10% less than what they're rated.
But they're such beautiful amplifiers.
Oh, they're like
such
art
beautiful.
there.
I would love to get my hands on one. Love to.
I tested a Z Boss amp, and those were way underrated. But you could the cool thing about that is, like Steve Mance had it on the board what that was rated. It was like a 50 watts by 2. And then, of course, when Boss gets it, they rate it 110 watts by 2. They just double it.
Absolutely.
So when you open it up, you're like, okay, it done 55 watts by 2. Exactly
what the board said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all don't know nothing. Hit me up.
So I wonder this. So, Robert, you said you got in around 99, 2000. Is that right?
No, I actually got in around 97 was my first year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just missed the gold letter kicker subs. Is that correct? Yeah. So, those things, they didn't hold a lot of power. I mean, a 500 watt amp back then was $1,500. I wonder, and I wouldn't dare, but I wonder if we had like 8 of those gold letter 18s in a vehicle now, what amp would power those things?
A 500 watt?
No, it would be more than that. But I bet a 5K would take 10 of them. Maybe not 10, but 8 of them. Whereas used to we had 10 500 watt amps and they pulled 100 something amps.
Right.
Oh my God, we were just we had no prayer compared to these guys.
Well, and I had the first gen XPLs, which were they were rib surround, not rib surround, but ribbed cone,
Rib
stitched
cones,
surround, and
yeah.
all that. But I think they only rated them for like 200 watts RMS, something like that. And I
Yeah.
absolutely love those things. But like Kip said, and he's right, people didn't get that first generation, and they didn't
Yeah.
understand what they're trying to do with that.
Yeah.
And when they come out to second gen, they were more like a solo barrack, which
Yeah.
was what people expected out of them, you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have a soft spot for first gen, but they're very efficient speakers. I like efficiency in a system when I can have it, but power is so
Well,
cheap that it's easy to just, you know,
man,
want
I'm
to.
gonna be honest with you. We've had a lot of the big dogs on the shows lately, and I have been fortunate enough to run some shows where they showed up, and in conversation with them, man, they're all now starting to focus on efficiency,
Right.
not so much how much cone area they can put in. Man, I hope I'm not telling off on him. I think I'm okay to say this. I've said it before, but hope he wouldn't get too mad. But Carlos Rodriguez said that guy's doing an 80 something, right? And
Yeah.
but he told me that he changed subs and the subs were more efficient, and he done that same SPL on half the power just by
Right.
changing his subs. So I think efficiency is kind of coming back to life. You know,
Yeah,
Well, I
I
mean,
think they've
especially
reached
when
a
you
point.
get up to his level,
Right.
efficiency matters because, I mean, what else can he do? Pull a trailer behind him with batteries and
but if it works for
amplifiers
him,
and everything else.
if it works for him, it'll work for everybody else too. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely, because you only reach there's a point of diminishing returns where you can keep throwing
Right.
power and power and power at it. And it's not going to do
You're
anything.
gonna top out. That's right.
So once you do that, you need to start designing your system in different ways. You need to start, okay, how can I change the subs? Can I change the enclosure? Can I, if it's a single sub, can I move it a certain way to see if it's going to do a little bit better? Because there's a
Yeah.
point where brute force is not going to get you any farther than where you're at.
Right.
Absolutely. Bigger box, more power is not going to matter. It just depends
and
on
if
the location.
you know, Derek preaches the efficiency. Yo, Ronnie, school of thump. I got to hear his van a few times. Really
I
cool.
haven't heard any Ronnie stuff. I've met him a few times, but I haven't got to hear anything. But he posted a picture of a Blazer that I really kind of liked the other day.
Nasty.
Oh yeah, he's always doing something crazy.
He helps
But
out the kids a lot where he's at, and we appreciate it.
I wish there was a way we could get involved with that as an organization. You know,
He wants you. He wants us to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely open. I just we need to find a way that we can get involved and do it.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, what better way to reach the kids than a crazy loud system? Like, yo, you
Right.
like this anyways? Let's check it out.
Listen,
check this out.
that's what got me involved.
Exactly.
You know, I don't know if you know him, but he's a kicker dealer. But so I went to Florence High School, Florence, Mississippi, and Jimmy Ham that owns Pro Audio, co-owner of Pro Audio. He did too, and I got into this because every day when he would leave school, we could feel everything vibrating, right, and that was so much fun.
Right. Well, I've told this story before, but when I was 15 years old, 14 years old, I was like, man, if I get a stereo, the girls are really gonna like me. If I get if I have a sweet ride and a stereo, oh man, that's gonna. And it turns out I actually had my wife on a podcast, like a Patreon only stream, and then that was one of the questions someone's asked because I've told it, and she was like, it kind of worked. It kind of worked.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ronnie, definitely. I mean, at one point in time, Ronnie has reached out and tried to talk to me, and I told him he needed to reach out to you, Billy, but he definitely wants to talk to you and sit down and try to work out something for sure.
Let me see.
So you definitely need to write that down and reach out to Ronnie. He does some amazing things with the kids down there, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to be involved in something like that. Let's see if I had Ronnie's phone number. No, I do not. Yeah, I'll reach out to you, Ronnie. I'll reach out to you.
Pippin said it didn't work with his. She hates my stereo.
But she's home with him every night. So does she really?
Right.
Right.
Well, they hate the stereos now.
Right.
I mean,
That's
but back
true.
in the day, my wife's the same. After a while, they get tired of it.
Right. Well, my wife, she's still. I don't even have a sub in her vehicle because we're keeping it simple. She doesn't like to mess with anything. I just have a
No,
kicker key, component set up front, coax in the rear. But I've got the doors deadened. You couldn't deaden them any more than they are. So she has a lot of bass output, and you can hear her pull up. She's a freaking bass head. Like
my
you can
wife
hear her
is
pull
too.
up with a component set pumping in the doors.
Man, did I get run over? I don't know. I got run over. Did y'all run over me?
This excursion, that big excursion, got you.
Oh yeah,
Really?
behind you. Your video that's running behind
Oh,
you.
oh,
There
I
you go.
got you. Okay. Yeah. I'm
That
like,
must
what
be.
the heck?
I think that's. No, that's not Greg. Who's that?
No, I don't
Yeah.
know. That's the same video from Las Vegas.
Yeah,
But see,
absolutely.
Pippin says she says it's a waste of money. But here's the secret. Here's the secret. Every hobby that a man does is a waste of money.
That's true.
We all waste
I
our
mean,
money on something.
think
It could be
about it.
drugs, But
If he had not bought that system for his truck, he may have bought her a shirt, a ring,
possibly,
flowers.
or he might have bought
So
$10,000 worth of a boat, $10,000 worth of hunting gear.
oh
You know,
right,
Fast
right.
cars. I mean,
a
we all have
motorcycle.
our addictions. It
Right.
doesn't matter what it is. We all have
Yeah.
our addictions.
Yeah, we
Even
all
if we
waste our
know
money
it.
on something. At least
That's
this,
right.
at least we're not hurting anybody with this, unless you're at a
Right.
stoplight and just going full tilt.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm kind of that jerk. I like to pull
Yeah.
up next to you and see what you're. If I see that Karen or that old lady, I just
Right.
kind of turn it up and roll my window down.
Oh,
Just-
dude, I love it. Like when I pull up, I'm like, yo, what you got in there? They roll down the window. Like, what do you
Oh, I
got in
love
there?
it.
Let me see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be right back. Okay. I'm gonna be listening. Y'all don't talk bad about me, okay, in front of my fans, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Billy, you got all these fans in here watching this. Happy spouse, happy house. Oh, absolutely. My
Oh,
wife,
definitely.
I've been married for 27 years and I wouldn't be nothing without my wife. Love her to death. She supports everything I do, even the bass side. Because there was a year ago when I sold the Nitro and I could have just walked away, but
Right.
I couldn't do it. I needed something different. So, I invested it right back into another vehicle and, I still love it.
Oh yeah, that's how my wife is too. I mean, I do live streams at least twice a week. Do YouTube, go to meets. She's right there. She's hanging out. She was at Wake the Dead. She
Yeah.
went to the SQ meet, so she has fun too. But she'll let me know, like, all right, it's not like the fun's ending, so you go do your thing. I'll do mine for a minute.
My wife is actually sitting there 90% of the time behind me running the meter at the shows.
Right.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
she supports me 100%.
That's
I
good.
love it.
So when your wife's like, hey, we got to go look at Christmas lights, you're like, okay, this
Yes,
is when
ma'am.
I pay you back. This is when
Yes,
I pay you
ma'am.
back.
Absolutely. I hate it, but yes, ma'am. Let's
Yeah.
go. Kind of just reading some of these comments.
There is no walking away, Jimmy.
Absolutely, Ronnie.
Right.
New wife 25, right? No, absolutely not. I don't want to start all over. That was way too much work.
Yeah, no doubt. It took. I've been married now. It'll be 21 years. So we've trained each other well over. I've trained her. She's trained me. So we already know exactly what we need to do.
A lot of give and take. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I've been married for 27, like I said, or 28. Sorry. It's working there. But yeah, my wife's the best.
Yeah. That's how I am too.
I need a full wire kit for the Civic from front to back. I'm sure you're talking to the right man right there. He can hook you up.
Yeah, man. I just ordered like 400 or 500 foot of wire, and I got it all stored in these cabinets behind me. It's heavy.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, Pippin.
So hey, so how do people get your wiring kits?
HiFiVega.com. That's simple.
Pretty easy, yeah.
HiFiVega.com.
Is it just wiring kits that you offer right now?
Well, yeah, for now it's just big 3 kits. I'm gonna expand it into like amp kits. But small business. I don't want to. I'm only doing it with money I make from YouTube and from selling the wire itself. So I'm trying to grow it slowly instead of taking that. I always separate my money. I have house money, which I make from my day job. My wife makes from her day job. Then I have the audio money. So this is all audio money stuff.
100%. I understand that.
Yeah.
That's what pool people do as well. Billiard people.
Yeah.
Billy. Billy lives one pool cue at a time.
And even before I done YouTube, I was doing a lot of old school collecting and trading. So that money that I gained doing that, I would also set that aside. And that was the money that I used to buy the amps or whatever I wanted to do.
100%. That's very smart. I've watched a lot of people hurt their family and mess up possibly really good things in their life over car audio and other silly addictions. Not just car audio, but
Right.
So, myself, I'm just like you. I keep everything separate. What I make from 9 to 5 goes to the house. What I make on my side money, base wars, or whatever else, I accumulate. That goes to the fun stuff.
Right.
If I don't have enough to buy a new sub this week, it's just gonna have to wait.
Yeah, that's an important lesson for people to learn, and it's tough. It's a lesson I didn't learn until I was well into my 30s. That sometimes you just don't need whatever it is you think you need. You can wait, and sometimes you don't want to buy the cheapest thing. Sometimes worth saving up for getting something that's actually worth the money.
100%.
I probably go to the opposite end of that. I usually try to get the best I can of whatever it is because there's usually a reason. So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, and I'm a tool nut too, so I get sucked up buying I see all this Snap-on and Knipec stuff, and I'm like, I gotta have this, man. It's
I seen all that new stuff that 12 Volt was putting up on the live feed the other day. I was like, God damn it!
Yeah,
you're gonna make my wife so mad at me. Stop!
I almost want to take them off Instagram and stuff because they post them pictures. Like, oh, that's so dope! Like, I need that.
I know. I get in so much trouble with that.
Right.
Yeah, man. There's not much more. I don't know if y'all both fabricate. I know Jimmy does some. I don't know if you do, Robert, or not. But man, there's just no more fun than that. I love doing that. I don't like to be rushed to do it, but I do enjoy it. I miss doing it. I haven't done it in a little bit, about like a year, and I'm about to go nuts. Yeah.
It's fun, man. If I had my choice, I'd be out there building boxes all the time.
I'm sorry, I'm watching all the cars on the lanes. That's loud at 18 hertz. Wait until Greg Corbin pulls up behind him. At some point in time, I don't know if we'll get to that in this feed or not. I don't know. Greg pulls up behind him, and it's nasty. We got Carlos Rodriguez in there as well, too.
Yeah. I tell you what, I don't know. Chris Lee, he competed with us up in Tennessee, and I tried to video that as well, but sometimes the video just don't work out. I can't remember if that one did or not, but he did a very low frequency as well. He got two peaks, and he could do in the 50s, but it seemed like he did one. I don't know if it was sub 20 or not, but it was low and it was loud. He's the only vehicle that has made I had to catch my computer from bouncing off the table. Right. Yeah, man.
But see, a lot of people don't realize that most vehicles have 2 resonant frequencies in them.
Well,
just
he's got a 6
at 53 doesn't mean that you're not going to also peak at 47. There's 2 resonant frequencies in every vehicle.
Well, I know there is on like a 6 and maybe a bandpass. But I tell you something that a lot of people don't realize, in my opinion, is that you can tune your box to a certain frequency, but how that box reacts with the cab, that's where you'll resonate. And a lot of people, when they go to run Port Wars, they think, okay, because they peak at say 46 in a Tahoe, they think when they stick it in the port, they should play 46 hertz, and it's not accurate.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, you
And that's
definitely
what
have
I
to
tell
play with that.
everybody. You got to test for that. Just because you're loudest with everything sealed up and you're running up on the window or up in the kick, if you're moving to Port Wars, it might be louder with the window down or the hatch open, or there's so much different testing and tuning that you have to put into it that makes you actually
Yeah.
very.
I would always test. I would test a lot with a sealed enclosure at different frequencies,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of mess it around. Then once I figured out the ballpark I needed to be at,
Sealed in, absolutely.
yeah, and then I'd go up to the ported enclosure that I want to do, and I start playing around with that before I made a final design. I was just slapping boxes together, and half the time I was using like PVC pipe, big PVC pipe to try to get my length that I needed. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen a lot of different things, over the years, and a lot of people don't understand that, if I built a box in the back of my Tahoe that's 212s, I pick it, we'll just say, for instance, a 47. But if I built a C pillar wall back in there, my tuning might change to a 45. If I built a B pillar wall in there, my tuning might turn to a 41. And I mean, every inch, every little small detail that you do to your vehicle, you need to test. And a lot of
yeah,
people get, rambunctious and they want to do 15 different things at once. And that's where, in my opinion, it hurts them. They need to do one thing at a time and test, 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 test. And then go back and then add that second thing that you want to do and test some more. Sometimes it hurts, sometimes it helps.
right. Well, the
And that's
tendency is
from
after every
yeah,
show you want to redo everything.
yeah.
And sometimes, people, they're like, oh, well, you know what? I didn't do what I want to do. I'm just starting from scratch. It's like, man,
Yeah,
try
that's not
just
me.
right, just build off what you got. Build off what you got.
Right.
And yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
there. I've built a whole vehicle and ran it at one show and just completely hated it and went back home and completely tore it all apart and started all over again. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
because there's been, we didn't
Does
have all the SPL meters back then, and we had to rely upon the shows and things like that. Nowadays, people can go buy a term lab or a SSA meter or all these features that we didn't have back then. Back then, we were just relying upon our ears. And
Yeah.
I've seen it millions of times where people thought, oh man, that's loud as hell. And then they get in the lanes and they're disappointed.
Yeah.
yeah.
The meter lies, or the meter doesn't lie and your ears do. And
Well,
there's been
I'll tell you the way I tested. Okay. So I would test my truck and then I would check and see which neighbor came out. If it was the very next door neighbor, I need to do a little more, right? If it was 3 doors down neighbor, then I'm doing pretty good, right?
Right.
If they walk out saying no, no, and then I knew, hey, I'm doing something right.
Right.
If they walk out and like, oh yeah, cool, I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
when
didn't
when
do
you
enough.
go and you
I ain't
have
doing enough, right?
when your neighbor 5 or 6 doors up is calling you saying you're knocking the shelves off or knocking the glasses off their
That
shelves.
means I peak at a low frequency. I needed to know that,
You're on
right?
point. You're on point at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
good times.
Place 13 to 24. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to get. Is it the SSA meter that has the that links with the iPhone and does the video?
Yes.
Right. Yep.
See,
Yes.
I would like to do that so that I could become a YouTube star.
There you
Get in
go.
all the vehicles and have a video of me with my wig on and
Yeah.
doing like a pink wig or a red
did-
wig or something.
I like that.
You
That's-
guys know who
that's
Taylor
amazing.
T-Fade is?
Oh,
We all know
yeah,
who
yeah.
T-Fade
All right,
is,
yeah.
absolutely.
So remember when he used
His
to do the
hat.
bass miner? Yeah, the bass miner.
Yeah,
That was
the bass
genius,
miner
dude.
hat.
That was freaking genius.
I am not aware of this. What was this?
It was like a miner's, like a hard hat.
Like a
Okay.
hard hat.
Oh, SSA
I did see it, but I did
Yeah.
not know what it was.
He put the
Okay.
SSA meter and he could video it, and you could see the
Yeah.
decibels on it. I was like, dude,
That's cool.
you should keep doing that.
Yeah.
That was genius. That
Yeah,
was pure
yeah.
genius right there.
It
Well,
was.
I want to be like T-Fade.
Yeah, I know he needs to go back to it.
Yeah.
T-Fade just, he kind of forgot about all of us and went back to the SQ
The SQ.
world, and that's all he knows is SQ, SQ, SQ.
Yeah,
SQ is
you know,
fun.
Yeah.
SQ is fun.
it
Definitely.
Too.
is.
It's
And,
challenging.
I'm still one of the people to this day. I love my bass, but I want to hear the mids, the highs, and everything out of it. I want the
Right.
all around sound.
Yeah.
And a lot of people to this day just want all the knobs to the right, which is
Yeah.
not bad, I guess, if that's what you personally want. But I want it to sound great.
Right. Yeah. Because the demos that I hate are
Dan
when the
Current.
bass comes off and it's just the mids and it's like, oh my god, like I'm gonna die right
Shoot
now.
me now.
Dan
And,
Current.
and
Dan Current.
I'll tell you this: a lot of people think the distortion equals loud. That's
Right.
not correct. That's not accurate.
Right.
I would like to help everybody in the world tune those because
Yeah.
they need the help.
I would love to walk behind Dan Current with a pair of wire cutters. He doesn't need a tuner; he needs wire
I,
cutters.
I think we should just steal his RCAs to those high end amps.
That's a
Wouldn't be hard,
There you go.
right?
You've walked behind his vehicle, Robert.
Yeah.
Awaken the Dead. There.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh, I got blasted by not at Wake the Dead at the Sundown show. There was I think there was a vehicle that didn't have no subs. It was all doors
the
and trunk.
PRV vehicle
Yeah,
that
and I was
comes
like,
out
whoa.
and does that aquatic fucking
Like
triple
that-
fold.
Like it's
Yeah.
super cool, but you are murdering my ears right now. Like this, like
Listen.
the build is freaking awesome, but it is that the tweets are just killing me. And I'm an old
So-
guy, so I can't take it.
So did you ever hear the Kicker Cube?
Yeah.
It's loud, right?
Yeah.
So at Slamology, I was waiting to hear the Kicker Cube, right? And those stunt wall types, fold up, flip out, all that stuff they were playing, dude, they are the reason I left the show. I was all the way at the Cube, and they were hurting my ears from 100 yards away. I'm like, nah, man, I'm out. And we just left.
That's mostly what I need the earplugs for.
That was radiology. That was 2019.
Right. I mean, they're super cool. I mean, they're awesome. The builds, I respect the builds.
And look, man, I'm gonna tell you something, Robert. They are pretty, man.
Yeah.
We do a lot of shows down in Florida, and those, I'm telling you, those are the best looking builds, man. Now, they're loud, and they're ornery, and it hurts to walk behind them. I'm not saying,
I know exactly what you're saying. It's like a lot of people love that, and just me. I don't know if it's just my ear, but I got a little bit of tinnitus, anyways. So
no, it's not just yours, man, because it's me too. And it hurts. It physically hurts. And that guy standing there right behind it with the podium, I'm like, I would put my podium off to the side or even in front of it and just video everybody else getting destroyed. But they don't. They put the podium right in the center in the back, and they just do it, man. And oh my God, that is loud.
It's like that big 18-wheeler that you constantly see the videos of.
Where
the people are like 150 yards away and they're still doing hair tricks.
I want to have earplugs. I want to experience one of those with earplugs in. I want to feel like to be 100 yards back and just feel the bass
they're doing hair tricks from like 100 yards away. It's ridiculous.
I want to experience it, but with my earplugs in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I keep earplugs with me at all times. And I've forgotten them once, but most of the time I have them. It's a cool pair. They're called Eargasm. And I bought them off Amazon. They're like $30 or $40, but I can hear, like when we talk, I can hear, but when something goes down, it blocks it. It blocks it pretty good. Yeah.
I'm using them old stupid 3M, the ones you use the shooting
range. Yeah. These are called Eargasm. You can get them on Amazon, and they're awesome.
I'll have to check those out.
I still don't use them. I don't know. I'm old school. Make me tap.
Right. It seems the low bass doesn't hurt as much as some of the other stuff, but
yeah. So you're right. So in Steve Duncan's van, let's say
high notes.
That high note, I don't want no part of that. Right.
Right.
Those low notes I can kind of take, but that high note, he played when I was in it. He's playing this one song. I don't know what it was, but
Behind Blue Eyes.
No. Well, it may have been. I don't know, but.
That's his go-to song.
When he does it, he's behind the B pillar, so you don't see him. So you don't know. Normally, you can watch them, and you can know if they're fishing because the elbow cocks up and they're fishing to get you.
Yeah.
but you can't see him. So you just don't know, oh, there's a high note, now I'm going to hit it. Had he done that, I would have been climbing over Dan Kermit. Right?
Yeah, I think you had a problem there because Dan had you trapped in.
Yeah. But no, yeah, that high note would have hurt, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it would have hurt.
Oh, when you start getting in like 50, 60 hertz, something like that's brutal, man.
Right.
That's not
Right.
like that's like someone hitting you with a boat oar or something.
Rearranged
it's
organs.
Right.
Yeah. So hey, so you guys in the comments out here that aren't with us live, hey, y'all comment. What do you think the loudest and at what frequency demo that you have taken or that would want to take? Right, that ought to be interesting, right? For me, it's going to be high 60s in the 30s. And I don't want no higher, and I don't want no louder. What about you, Robert?
Oh well, see, we've been doing this old school SPL challenge where you got to use old school amps, and I had the idea we don't have no frequency limit on that, so I got a couple Pro Sound 18s, and I thought I'm gonna tune this box to 100 hertz. Let's just see what it does. Oh my god! First of all, it was
you tuned 18s at 100 hertz.
Yeah.
Wow, how'd that go?
Pro Sound 18s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're Pro Sound, so they could play up to like 250 hertz.
Yeah.
The SPL didn't go high like I thought it went. It done like a 140. But let me tell you, man, it freaking destroyed me. I don't even think I wore earplugs at first, and I was like, this is terrible. This is stupid. I should have never done this.
And did you do it at 100 hertz?
I did it. Yeah, I done 140 at 100 hertz. And
yeah, that would hurt.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was stupid.
The one that hurt me the most, I would still say to this day, is Joe Price with the van.
What frequency was that, you think?
It was, I want to say probably high 50s, maybe 60s.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had asked for it, and he put a hurting on me. It was nasty.
He let you have it, huh?
Yeah.
He didn't disappoint.
Well, I came out, I was talking a lot of gibberish that I've never tapped out before. Got in his van, and he turned it up to his normal level, and I'm still sitting there. And he's like, all right, click. And all weekend long, I was hurt. It was over with the whole weekend.
Well, I watched this video. I don't know if this is
Bobby
the one that Melissa was speaking of, but I watched a video of her. She crawled over in the hole. So Robert, they got these big vans and they build these consoles and they're a little further over the one side. And basically they're pressurizing that little corner. Well, Melissa, she's tiny. I don't know. You know her.
Yeah.
All right. So she crawled over there in that hole, and I watched the video, and it looked like as soon as Bobby hit it, she's like, "No way," which I get. And so I bet that was high, and I bet that was painful. I can't imagine what that was.
She got me at the Sundown show. She's seen me, so she's cutting in front of the line. I'm like, I don't want to cut. She's like, no, get in here. And then she's like, he's an SQ guy. Give him the beans. So.
Right. and which vehicle was that?
I can't remember. It was several. She would probably know. She would probably know which ones. But she got me in a few of them. And it's like, yeah, he's an SQ guy. Just give him the beans.
I want to say probably the loudest one that I have set in personally would have been probably either Joe Price's van or the Russian wind machine. Yeah. The Russian wind machine, that thing was nasty. If he shuts you in and bolts you in, it will hurt. Of course, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not on the dumb side and want to crawl into Carlos's and crawl over the wall if he shuts the door. It's not going to happen.
I'd only get him in his on the other side.
No. Right. It's not going to happen. I know my limits, but absolutely.
I don't think I've ever set anything that's nowadays over 165 decibel or something like that.
Yes, you have. If you set in Daniel Powell's, yes, you have.
Okay, so
that's
probably
60s.
That's probably the loudest one I've ever been in.
Yeah. Daniel's is guaranteed to high 60, almost to 70 with that door open.
Yeah. And that one was fun. He didn't hit the high notes with me. We were getting like 20s, 30s, so that one was pretty fun. Yeah.
I'm probably the middle 50s with mine.
Right. It's a lot louder than anything I do. I don't even have a sub in my vehicle right now.
So, do you remember the loudest thing I've ever been down was hands down? Do you remember the linear power bread truck?
The bread truck. I never got to listen to it, but I remember it from the magazines.
I haven't heard anything close to that.
Oh yeah.
Nothing's come close to that.
Wow. And those were all strokers, right? 15-inch strokers.
Well, he did it.
Strokers.
He did several different ones, but
Right.
I think at that point, was it 48 stroker 15s?
I think it was 46 or 47.
And that was the
48.
amplifiers were prototype war horses.
Oh wow.
Like that, they weren't really. You wouldn't even really call them amplifiers, but
Yeah.
they turned out to be the war horse. If I believe, yeah. So
Those are crazy.
yeah,
I
it was.
didn't tap out of the Cube. Didn't tap out of Nick Hutchison's. I've been there. I've hit them all. Trust me.
Yeah.
Nick and hell, Travis got mad because I wouldn't tap out. He kept telling me, "Move back here, scoot back here,
The
move
Cube?
back here,
Right.
in the Cube."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Oh, man.
cube was tough, man.
Red Rocket has not tapped me out as well either.
Yeah.
No.
I've
It
never
is
had to
loud.
tap out yet, but that's not a challenge. Because
Right, I'm down.
if it gets too intense, I will definitely
I'm
tap out.
telling you, if when that high note hit in Steve Duncan's van, if he'd have gave it one more click, I was out. I've been
Right.
happy to be out. Right? Yeah.
Oh man.
Steve Duncan's nasty. Very,
And
very.
he has such a long line at sundown that I didn't get to check it out that time, but I wanted to. It was on the list. I wanted to check it out.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
good. And
Man.
I'm still a huge fan of his pickup truck. The
I
truck,
like the
I
truck,
mean,
yeah.
the truck by far. If you can get Steven to actually be behind the wheel of the truck and roll
Yeah.
that window up and give you full knob, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
I
Amazing.
think Brett Arsenault was he gave it to me the hardest that I have been in the truck one time. And it was definitely, but we didn't have the window up, I don't think.
Mhm.
So
if
we
the
weren't
window's not up and
Right.
Steven's not behind it, you're not getting full tilt. Trust
right.
me.
Yeah,
'Cause
and the truck was stout. The truck
there's
was-
a video on my Facebook where I'm actually sitting there getting a huge demo from Steven. And I want to say I think it was the first year I joined Team Notorious. And I'm like, turn it up, whatever. He rolled the window up. And I mean, the window is clapping, literally
Oh no.
pulling out this
Yeah.
far out the thing. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to break. It's going to break. And he's
Yeah.
like, what? And I'm looking at the window. And I mean, the window was literally flexing out like this. Not the whole window, just the top portion. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, huge. I could have stuck my head out through the gap of the window and back in.
Wow.
It was just
So-
nasty.
So I'll tell you a funny is y'all realize that nowadays it's way different, but back in the day I was getting a demo from a really loud vehicle. This is probably in 86, 87. I'm only 27, but you just figure that out for yourself. but man, my eyeball started vibrating and I stepped it looked like the car was vibrating and I stepped my foot out to hold the car down, so to speak. And I'm hitting the guy saying, stop, we fisting to bounce into the pole, kind of thing. And he just looks at me like, what an idiot. Yeah, they broke me in, right?
Definitely.
It was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing.
It could do it, man. It's just, once you get your eyes going,
Well-
the ones the high notes that take your breath away, those are the ones that get you.
You gotta learn to breathe in between.
Right.
Right.
Got
But
me
when
with the
When Steve is
that-
behind that B pillar, you don't know
You can't
when you
see
can
him,
breathe.
right.
Yeah, you don't know
Yeah.
when you get the opportunity to breathe.
You know
Well, the
song
first one that got me
I
like
know.
that was a Phoenix Gold truck. It was here in Fort Smith at no, that's Stereo One. It was one of the
1993.
something like that, and it had 72
Yeah.
Phoenix Gold XX10s,
Right.
with excess 2,500 amps in
That
it.
was in 1993.
Stereo
I remember.
World. It was Stereo
Yep.
World,
That's right.
and that one was like, I think they were doing like 165, 168 on the old mic, of course, but it was
Yeah.
at like 70 hertz or something like
Right.
that, like 75, 80 hertz, something
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, that was mean.
Yeah.
I remember that one. Did you ever hear that one that had like 1,525,000 in it?
Oh, was that
It was a Cadillac of some kind.
Rockies?
I don't know. I don't know who it was, but I think it was a green Cadillac. I could be wrong about that. It's been a while, but
I remember that. Yeah, I remember
that thing
Was
just
it
killed the meter. It was insane loud,
Yeah.
but it was all high frequency. We wasn't
Yeah.
even fun.
I remember seeing that one over. I want to say it was overseas somewhere that had all the 6x9s in it. That like it was in the old clamshell enclosure, and it just when he turned it up, I think like 7 6x9s like blew up, and I think he was hitting the high 60. But
Wow.
it was I just a guess. I want to say he probably had like 40 6x9s in that box.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it was just ridiculous, but it was
The
kind of cool
first
to see.
the first one that got me with the lows was 4 15-inch Eclipse titaniums. The TC Sounds made Eclipse titaniums, and he was doing like 155 to 160 ish at like 25 hertz, which back then was kind of unheard of, and that was pretty cool.
Still one of my favorite videos. I still love to see, and I don't know if it was Andrew or somebody, but over in the overseas with B2 Audio, he actually had his van set up, and he was running a burp. And when he hit that burp test, you watched his power wire and his ground wires actually move when he hit that meter.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just
That's
ridiculous
current.
from the draw. I mean, when he was doing
Ronnie
it,
Pruitt's his School of Thump fan does that. He's got
Yeah.
the C-Max bank, and we were sitting there when he was giving demos, me and Derek, and we were videoing it. And you could see his power wire just doop, doop, as I was bumping it.
Right, that's
Wow.
moving some current, man.
Yeah,
Because I'm assuming it's alt gauge, right?
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
It was several
And
runs,
it's jumping. It's hard to jump alt gauge, man.
Absolutely.
and it might even have been 2 watt. I don't know. He's in chat. He'd be able to say. But
No, it was all zero guy.
Yeah, and you could see it moving clearly. It was on video. You could see it moving.
Wow. So, Robert, I'm looking on your website, and this question really doesn't come from me. It comes from
What's that?
somebody that asked me when they found out you were going to be on our show. And he asked me how you determine the length of the wire for your kits. So I know that 17 feet is just the norm that will cover your butt, so to speak, to go from front to back of, say, Tahoe. But he asked me that, and so I'm asking you that.
So I do 10 foot on big threes because 5 foot for the alt run, and I do an add-on because 5 foot is actually a little bit long for your alt run, but some people need to string it through a different spots. And then 2.5 foot for each ground for your battery ground, and then your chassis. To the alt bracket. 2.5 feet's usually good for that. That's for the big three. But I do an add-on because I do it in 2 5 foot links. So if you want to run to your battery from your alt and your the chassis, power and ground all the way to your battery, I do an add-on kit so you can do another ground for just your battery. And that's kind of how I determine that, because every one I've done can be done that way. 2.5 foot for the chassis to engine or alternator, and then your battery to chassis.
Absolutely.
or something like that can be done with 2.5 foot.
Gotcha.
Now, as far as the power wire, like if you're doing a full kit, I think 17 is a standard because most people can do it in like 15.
Yeah.
But it depends on what you want to do. I think, some people, depending on how they're running it, and if they want to run it all the way to the back, they may need 20 foot. So it's kind of tough.
Just depends, yeah.
Yeah.
Will does some amazing stuff over there. Absolutely. I would have to agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. We've had Will on here before. I like Will. He's real knowledgeable. I like Will a lot.
Junior on though, right? Not senior.
Yeah. Junior. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Will and Lucas, the Brennan Savar down there, they're good guys. I've broke bread with them several times and
very good.
Worked with them different, and they're in it. They're trying to take care of their people any way they can, trying to put out good stuff. So I
think they're doing a good job too. Yeah. I like them a lot. I like them a lot.
Very much. Okay, well, I think we've reached that point of the show. Unless, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read a couple comments. We got some other people back there that would. Yeah, I think that was Alan Dante. Ed, sorry, I don't. We don't. Go ahead.
I missed a lot. I didn't get into the comments a lot this week, so I'm going to scroll back through. So, Robert, we try to pay attention to our comments and get our questions, mainly because we don't normally have content. A lot of times it's me and Jimmy, and, we bore one another. So, but so we have somebody extra. We try to take advantage, right?
Definitely.
And
make them provide the content. Make them to provide the content. And you just
right. Normally, I just take myself off the screen. Nobody even notices, and it's all good, right?
Definitely.
I'd love to have you back on one day once you get everything set back up, and we could really throw out some tests with maybe just a couple different amplifiers. I'm not going to mention any names or any brands, just whatever you have laying around that we could test. And
well, I'll tell you. Some of these cheaper amps, when you're running the 1 kilohertz track, you can hear it in the power windings.
Yes.
You can hear it
in the power windings. When it starts to clip.
Mm-hmm. And you can hear, really? You can even, sometimes you can hear music.
You mean audibly?
Audibly,
yes. 100%. Yes.
On a lot of cheaper amps, you can hear it.
Really?
It's weird.
What does it sound like?
It sounds like the music.
Hold on now. Right. I mean, like, ear to the power winding.
100%.
And just in the how far the camera was away from my other shot, you could hear it. I could hear it as I'm testing, and you could hear it ramp up and squeal if you're going too hard on that power supply on cheaper amps. And Teraps is one of those amps that does that.
Stepping up the voltage correctly. That one,
right?
And you can hear it.
You can hear it.
What frequency is it, you think?
1 kilohertz. 40 hertz you can't hear.
Oh, you're playing. Yeah.
On any amp. But 1 kilohertz, I often do that test because a lot of people rate their amps at 1 kilohertz because it does more power. Right, so I want to do that test to see. And a lot of the cheaper amps, you can hear it. But some of them, like Boss is good at, actually, believe it or not, like Boss amps are freaking almost bulletproof. Those cheap $100 amp.
Right.
Derek literally had to throw bare wire on the board to get it to blow up. And they're built like that because they know people are going to abuse them.
Yeah.
100%.
So you can hear the coil whine.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
On a lot of cheap ramps, you can, and it's very, very weird. And a lot of older.
Why is that? You think?
And even quality older amps do it.
What do you think's going on there?
I think it's just got like the interference or something. It's not as good shielded.
I think it's the shielding.
Yeah.
And the board, obviously.
And I never noticed this until I started testing these amps like this, and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And I talked to Derek. He's like, "Oh yeah, man." He's like, "Yeah, you can hear it."
Huh.
And Derek has had an amp where it actually played the music. He showed on his video. It played the song through there. You could hear the song he was playing
through the amplifier,
through the amp with no speakers hooked up.
Yep.
No way.
Yep.
And I'll have to look up. I'll have to ask him again what video that was, but he definitely showed it.
I can't wait to go see that. Huh. So, what do you think if we pulled the wire off one of those toroids and wrap a bunch of extra on a Teramps? Think it'd be fun? What do you think we do?
Something's gonna happen.
Poof. That's what I mean.
On some of the older ones, you can just unhook the speaker wire, and if you touch the case, it'll blow the amp up.
Yes.
Right.
Don't unhook the RCA while it's running.
Right. And they fixed it, I think. Sam from Bear Vids, I don't know if you guys ever seen any of his stuff, but the newer amps, they fixed it on. So.
Okay. But I try not to rag on any amplifier brand.
Oh, no.
Just because.
Absolutely. Everybody has, their own opinion, their own.
Right.
Personal.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of power. That's a lot of power.
Yeah, it's true. It's not like our old 45
watt,
linear power or Fosgate. It's a little bit different.
Well, and it turns out a lot of those amps sucked. I thought Orion. I love Orion. I loved Orion HCCA amps, Guess what? None of them do their rated power. None of them.
Right.
The 225 done like 380 watts. Very few of them made it over the 400 they're rated. The 2100 didn't even do barely even half what is rated. So
I got 9K out of my 7500 death bounce.
Oh yeah. But that's current. That's current today though, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
But
not
like
old,
the old linear power amps were like 40, like a linear 452 is 45 watts. It did that thing in its sleep.
Oh yeah.
Maybe,
You know.
Yeah, almost all Rockford amps. Almost every Rockford Fosgate amp done its power. Kicker was always close to double. Orion, PPI, I love Precision Power back in the day too.
Precision.
Those never performed. They were always like 10% under. Most of the old Z amps were like 10% under.
Of course, who knows what the standards were back in the day. And, 10%, you can take that. You know, you can take that.
Well, and there was no one out there telling the truth, like, hey, this amp, look, I have this machine that can tell you what this amp. So they could just lie about it.
Right. What they said it was,
Yeah.
Wait till the day the Clipple becomes affordable for all of us. Right. How many subwoofer tests will be done,
Yeah. Kevin asked if I ever tested the old Crossfire amps. For sure. The old Crossfire amps, I didn't know this at the time. That was like the first Korean built amp I ever got. It was in 1998. It was a CFA 1000D.
Ooh.
It was their very first one. It was the white one with the checkered logo. And those they even said it in the paperwork. They'll do 10 to 15% overrated. And they did. They do. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
And those still hold up. I mean, it wasn't a USA built amp. It was a Korean built amp in the 90s. And many of those are still playing just like they did back in the day.
I still have an old 4-channel Crossfire hanging on the wall over there that works perfectly.
Yeah. They were solid amps.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we've reached that point. I appreciate everybody for watching us tonight. And I know Billy and Robert, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Seriously, I would love to have you back on anytime you have some free time, please reach out.
All right. Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I just finished up my 12 days of streaming last week on Wednesday. So I was like, bonus episode, I'm going to be on Bass Awards. So y'all come check me out.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, well, we're proud to have anybody on. We like to talk to people about this, and I always try to bring out the basics because that's kind of gotten lost with the.
Tell everybody your YouTube and everything else that you have going on, sir.
Yeah, I'm HiFi Vega everywhere. HiFiVega.com, YouTube.com/HiFi Vega, HiFi Vega on every social media platform. My favorite is Instagram. I do Facebook too. I really don't like Facebook that much, but that's where the people are, so I'm there. And I'm starting TikTok. I don't understand TikTok yet, but
we have a channel, and I can tell you this. Yeah. What kind of phone do you use?
iPhone 13.
All right, so for TikTok, for everything else, you want to do them sideways.
Yeah, you got to do vertical.
For TikTok, so you got to do them twice. And I'm like, man, I've been slacking. But so I'm going to share my screen 1 second. It won't take long, so just bear with me. See if I can do that. Yeah, so this is your website. I was looking at these kits. So for those of you that didn't hear it earlier, it's HiFiVega.com, right?
Yeah.
And this is his website. And here's all the goodies. So this right here, this Big 3 add-on for $15. I was curious what that is.
That's an extra ground strap. So a 2-foot
ground strap.
If you if you want it to, it can either be a Big 4 if you want to
that's a Big 4 at that point.
Yeah. Right. Or if you want to run the ground and power from your alternator to the battery, it can make a longer Big 3.
Do that, yeah. Here we have some look like some pretty cool looking terminals.
Yeah, I like the military style terminals because you can just stack lugs on them. They got that extended post. You can go on both sides. You can put 2 or 3 lugs on each side and bury them up. But if you're gonna do like a big system, you probably want to look at the big, like the GP
distribution.
Like
right.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to answer this question.
No, I wish I was heir to the Vega fortune, but I'm not.
Right.
I'm not. I do have. You can't see it here, but I have a little Hyphonics EQ. That was the Vega. So I have that one up there. I have a Sirwin Vega that I got from Derek here, the red one. And then I just got a stroker sitting in the closet. So I want to hook that up sometime.
I got the 018 Sirwin Vegas sitting over there with the cabinets and all. Love them.
Yeah.
Man, those strokers were ahead of their time too.
Definitely, yeah.
Those things were awesome.
Absolutely.
And I've never got to play with one in my own personal system. I have one now, but, you know, when do I have time to build an enclosure? I might just hit my buddy up and get him to build me one.
Right. How did we get a celebrity on Base Wars? David, that's just how we roll, man. We rub elbows with all the big dogs.
We had to reach out to Kicker. That's how we got him on there. We had to give a little extra oboes and lovins and everything else there.
Oh, man, little G guys know I'm on everything, so.
I had to show him my Kicker cup.
There you go.
Now look at that.
I see. I've got one with my name on it too.
Right.
I didn't bring it. I got another one. My wife's already claimed that. So she claimed the headphones. She claimed she goes through what did they send? Let me see what I need.
Yes.
Right.
This is this.
You can have this. I'm taking all this.
Yeah, what's left. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Amazing.
All right then. Well, I guess that how long are we?
We're at
hour and 45 minutes. That's pretty awesome.
45 minutes. That's pretty decent.
All right. Well, Robert, thank you so much, sir, for coming with us.
Appreciate you having me on. I'll
Definitely
come back on again.
For sure.
Yep. Anytime you get ready. And y'all shop HiFiVega.com and watch HiFi Vega YouTube.
Definitely. Reach out. He's got a lot of stuff on his YouTube channel that, a lot of you guys would find out very interesting. Maybe not, but, still check him out.
Yeah, and if you want to hear nonsense, tune in Thursday. I stream with Dean.
Right.
Dean from 5 Star Car Stereo.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Yeah.
5. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
So, we talk about audio a lot, but we also talk a lot of BS, so it's fun.
Yeah. Right. Well, if I ever get me that SSA meter, I'm going to call you and ask, how do I become a YouTube star?
Oh, man, you better ask Derek. I'm not too good at it.
Yeah. Well, every time I call over there, they don't have any, so it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I know.
Could be a good thing.
It's not good. I want to be a star, man. I need that meter.
2.0.
Right.
Just get some T-Fay device. Ask them how to strap it up, how to get it going.
I could sing, and that would make me a star, but
just go over to
it would go the wrong way.
He's got one. He's got probably 2 or 3 of them sitting in his house. In
the
garage with all the other unused audio equipment sitting in his garage.
Who's that?
T-Fate.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, I bet he's got a nice little stash.
Oh, he does. Way he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, sir. Robert, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
All right. We'll see you. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
All right, sir. I think that was a good evening. I'm proud that he came on with us. What about you?
100%. Thank you guys for watching, and we appreciate it.
Right. You got to do that appreciate thing a little bit again, because I'm not got our video ready. Right.
Definitely. Thank you guys. We'll be back next Monday live, hopefully with Andy Living Loud will be in here with us.
Right.
So,
I know they had a little COVID struggle, so if Andy, if you're listening, man, we won't hold it against you if you don't make it. We'd schedule it for the next week or something like that.
yeah, reach out, let us know.
Yeah.
Anybody else that would love to come on and be a guest, or just come on and say hi,
Yeah.
Actually, feel free to reach out to Billy or me, and we'll make that happen.
You don't even have to love it. You just have to be able to sing. Right. All right. Well, guys, we will see you guys next week, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.